24-year-old Marilyn Bergeron left her family's home in Quebec City, Canada, on the morning of February 17th, back in 2008. She told her family members that she would return home soon after. However, she never returned home. An ATM security camera in Loretteville, which is a district of Quebec City, recorded her attempting to withdraw money early in the afternoon. She was last seen almost 5 hours after leaving her home at a coffee shop in another district of Quebec City called Saint-Romuald. Several unconfirmed sightings of her have been reported, particularly in areas of Ontario just outside of Quebec. Quebec City police continue to investigate. Their main theory seems to be that Bergeron may have committed suicide. However, her family believes otherwise. They believe that she had met with foul play, and the family had offered a reward for information leading to the resolution of her case. In 2017, a friend from Montreal revealed that Bergeron had become increasingly fearful and reclusive in the 2 months before her disappearance. When asked if she had been essayed or witnessed a crime, Bergeron stated that what happened to her was worse, but she did not provide further details. Hello, Rain. How are you today?
As always, all good. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. So, Marilyn Bergeron, you looked into this case a little bit. You did your own research, right? Is there anything that struck to you about this case in particular? Like any particular detail?
The fact that she seems like a regular girl. However, she lived in a shady area that was so known to be
Known to have some crime?
yeah, like known to be some sort of bad neighborhood, if
Yeah.
I could say that.
But you're already talking about when she lived in Montreal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to kind of discuss her background and how she ended up in Montreal in the first place. How about that?
Let's go for it.
So, Marilyn was born in 1983, and in 1998, her family moved to Quebec City, which is a French-speaking part of Canada, as you can recall. At age 10, she began taking music lessons. Growing up, she often tried to form several bands, according to her mother, Andrea Betchard. Marilyn was open to various cultures and nationalities, and she was fluent in English and French with some knowledge of Spanish, and was beginning to learn Russian, which was an interesting choice.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
She earned a degree in media arts and technology. In 2005, she moved to Montreal and worked as a sales assistant at Steve's Music Store, which is apparently the biggest music store in Montreal. And she also did some freelance work as a sound editing engineer for a local TV station, I believe even several stations. She lived in an apartment in a pretty questionable, as you've said, neighborhood in Montreal. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. I'm definitely going to butcher it.
Is it super French?
Yeah, I cannot do this one. So the neighborhood was a poor neighborhood known for poverty, some illicit activities, drug trafficking, etc. Sources say that Marilyn lived a rock and roll lifestyle, and she hung out with dubious people. One source claims that she had a controlling ex-boyfriend. Another source claims that she used to abuse substances and had some suicidal thoughts when she was younger. However, I had not been able to find any more information on the ex-boyfriend or in general, her whole lifestyle, what she was doing in Montreal. Maybe you ran into something?
No, not necessarily.
She was also training in finance at Industrial Alliance Financial Group and aspired to become a flight attendant, and one day moved to Western Canada and work as a flight attendant. So seems at this point that everything was going well in her life, but something happened And we don't know exactly what happened, but something happened to Marilyn in, I believe, early or sometime in late 2007. That's what I'm guessing. Because in early 2008, she expressed to her family that she no longer felt safe in Montreal and wanted to return to Quebec City. On February 10th, 2008, she left her apartment in Montreal and returned to her parents' house in Quebec City. After 2 trips to Montreal to retrieve her belongings, she moved back in with her parents full time. During that week, her family noticed that she was deeply troubled and reluctant to discuss her reasons for leaving Montreal. Her sister, Nathalie, reported that Marilyn asked if there was hope for her situation, but refused to talk about her distress, only crying instead. So I feel like Natalie maybe asked Marilyn what was the problem that she was dealing with, but for some reason Marilyn just asked her sister whether or not there was end to the suffering that she was feeling, but she was not really talking about what may have happened. So that's pretty strange, right? And Andrea Betchard, her mother, confronted her about what had happened in Montreal, because at this point everyone is thinking, what happened in Montreal? But Marilyn denied that her issues involved drugs, debts, or a relationship. When her mother asked if she had been essayed, she became visibly upset and cried, but did not provide further details. So her mother suggested that she should speak to a psychologist if she could not talk to her family members. So what do you think happened to Marilyn? What do you think happened in Montreal? Because clearly something happened in Montreal, because prior to I believe late 2007, there were no reports of her displaying any strange behavior.
I mean, a lot of things could have happened. Initially, well, first of all, she had an abusive boyfriend, which is already a red flag. A lot of things could have happened within that aspect itself, and second of all, drugs could have been involved. So
yeah,
bad people are also involved.
That whole neighborhood, right, is questionable.
Extremely questionable, and probably her inner circle too, since drugs are involved and abusive boyfriend, a lot of things.
Also, I would like to say that she was doing a lot for a 24-year-old, because think about what she was doing. She had a full-time job at a music store. She was doing freelance work. She was also taking financial courses. All of this while she also had ambitions to go to Western Canada and become a flight attendant. So for a 24-year-old person also, I'm kind of thinking, is there a choice? Is there a chance that Marilyn may have burnt out at some point? Because I mean, she seems like, that definitely seems like a lot of things.
Oh yeah, definitely. I believe so, because I was in her situation at one point, but less. Yeah. I was studying and working at the same time. I could barely manage it, let alone having 2 jobs.
2 jobs, and then, and then on top of that, living in a
pretty shady neighborhood.
Yeah.
Abusive boyfriend, once again.
Yeah, it just seems like an overload could have happened. Just my kind of take.
Oh, that's true. A meltdown could have happened at any time.
Yeah, exactly. So the strange thing is that she disappeared on a Sunday morning, which was one day after she finished relocating. I immediately was thinking, is there any chance that maybe that the fact that she officially cut off all ties with Montreal, maybe that somehow spiraled, and maybe that was somehow connected to her disappearance. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Maybe the thought of officially being done with Montreal. I don't know. Maybe that's just my thought.
You meant she did it to herself intentionally?
Yeah, potentially, I'm thinking. If we're going to go with what law enforcement seems to think about her case.
I'm a little concerned about the relationship, the abusive relationship. Like, how abusive was the boyfriend?
The thing is, I've seen this mentioned once, and I've never really seen anyone else talk about the boyfriend, nor the family. So I'm not really sure how big of a role the boyfriend played in her life. I mean, we can't really tell at this point.
Oh yeah, that's true. I wonder if it was a serious relationship or just kind of a casual dating situation. We'll never know for sure, but it's just curiosity, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
Because I was thinking, what if that abusive relationship was kind of sort of mixed up with, I don't know, obsessiveness? Could it potentially be, if we're looking in like one theory, could have maybe, is there a possibility that the boyfriend was stalking her?
Yeah.
In some level.
I mean, I did not find this information, but I feel like anything is a possibility.
Yeah.
Absolutely anything could be happening in this case. I also want to talk about the disappearance when it happened on Sunday. So in the morning of February 17th, which was a Sunday, Marilyn Bergeron, after finally relocating from Montreal, she told her parents that she was going for a walk. Her mother convinced her to stay and have a coffee because I believe her mother was already a little bit concerned with, the mental state that Marilyn was in. But when she asked her if she could join her on her walk, Marilyn declined, saying that she wanted to go alone. Why do you think she did that?
I have no idea, actually. She could have just wanted to take a breather all by herself, or there was already a planned escape.
Some sort of a plan, right?
Yeah.
It was shortly before 11 a.m. when Marilyn left for her walk. She told her mother that she would be back in the afternoon, so she allegedly did not intend to be out for a long time. She wore a long black overcoat with gray fake fur trim and suede boots. She left all identification at home except for her credit card. At around 11 a.m., she stopped at an ATM. Her attempt to withdraw $60 was declined. Then security camera footage from this ATM location showed her looking behind her several times at the ATM, and she had a black backpack slung over one shoulder. So I want to ask you, because you've done a little bit of digging into this ATM footage. We actually have the footage, and we're going to be showing this on the YouTube channel. But I want to ask you, why do you think she was looking behind her? And in general, what do you think? What do you make of the whole ATM footage?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Personally, I think her facial expressions, it's either a mixture of fear and worry, anxiety, or everything at once, or maybe just scared or something, just not pleasant. What do you think?
Yeah, to me, she seemed like she wasn't
calm.
She wasn't calm. She seemed like she was in distress.
Yeah, it wasn't like a regular walk.
No, the look on her face seemed troubling.
Yeah, and she also looked over her shoulder twice. Why? Was she looking for someone?
Exactly.
Was she looking at someone? Because...
Was she being followed?
Exactly. Because you would... Okay, imagine yourself in the ATM. I don't know, I always just push the buttons, take the money, and that's it. I never even look over my shoulders.
That's true.
Once.
Me too. But then I also heard some stories about people getting scammed at the ATM, and some people are more cautious at the ATM. And I could understand being cautious at the ATM, but at the same time, yeah, same here. I just push the buttons, take the money, and I leave.
Yeah, but there was a dude. There was a dude who walked behind her towards the other ATM on her right side. She didn't even look at that guy once. So if she's being
okay.
cautious, she would look left and right and even to the guy near her.
So she didn't look at that guy.
No, she was just looking over her shoulder. Same spot.
So she was looking at something specific.
Possibly not caught in the camera.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I must have missed that part of the ATM footage. You know what I mean? All right. So we just reviewed the footage one more time, and yeah, now I see this guy walking. What seems to be that he walks to the other booth, the other ATM booth, kind of adjacent to the one that Marilyn was standing. But yeah, I do agree with you. It doesn't, for me, after we did like another review of the CCTV footage just now, for me, it didn't look like Marilyn was looking at that particular guy.
Yeah, well, she probably was looking in the same direction as that dude came or like walked on, but I don't think she was necessarily looking at that dude.
Yeah, I don't think so. And this is actually, I don't know, it builds a case. It builds a case, in my opinion, that she was looking at a particular spot.
Because if she was looking at the dude, you would see her eyes like trailing the same guy in the camera, but it seems like she's looking somewhere slightly off, not particularly at the guy.
Exactly. Now, I have another question. So she tries to withdraw $60 and it was declined. And I read later on in my research that I think her card that she was using at the ATM, it was connected to her father's bank account. And I think it was somehow arranged that if Marilyn ever needed money, she could use that card. So I think her father said that he thinks that Marilyn must have forgotten her PIN code to grab $60. So immediately I have a question. What do you think she was trying to do with that $60? She told her mother that she's going for a walk and that she's, gonna be back soon. When her mother told her that she wants to tag along, she refused and she said, I want to go alone. So do you think she was trying to hide the fact that she was gonna withdraw the $60 from her mother? Or do you think it's just whatever?
Honestly, we also have to remember that she was just walking. The purpose was her walking out to take a breather. But then in the footage, she had a bag.
She had a bag, and that's another weird detail because her father said that she did not have that black backpack when she left the house.
Exactly.
You remember that detail, right? You looked into it. You've seen this backpack detail.
Yeah, she had a backpack on the footage. And okay, just a random question. How did you know that she was only going to withdraw $60? Was there only $60 in the account? Or was there a record?
I think it was a record. That's my assumption that they saw how much
decline.
Yeah, a decline. But then that's a good question because actually the ATMs here where we're from, at least the ones that I've ever used, you enter the PIN codes before you get to select the amount. Oh, that's a good question. How would they know how much money she would try to withdraw? I don't know. I just assumed that
Maybe it's different there.
Maybe it's a different ATM. Yeah, because here you have to type in the PIN code before you get to select the amount that you want to withdraw.
Before you're given the options to do basically anything with the card.
Yeah, no, you have to get the PIN code down.
Yeah, because I was thinking if she was planning to run away for some odd reason, because she had a backpack on when she said she was just going out for a walk. She had a backpack.
Oh man, that's a good observation.
But why only $60? If she's actually gonna run away, shouldn't it be like way more?
And why would she leave all of her identification at home if she's running away? So that's also a little bit.
Maybe it's just a trip somewhere farther.
Perhaps. I mean, the first day of moving back to Quebec City, it had been at that point, I believe, like 3 years that she had been living in Montreal. So I could understand that. So at 4:03 p.m., at 4 p.m., so this is around 5 hours later, she bought a cup of coffee at a Café Depot in Saint-Romuald, which is a district in Quebec City, and it's 20 kilometers south of her parents' house. And she paid using her credit card. So I'm assuming it's that same credit card that she used to withdraw money from the ATM, I believe.
1 second.
Yes.
Sorry. 20
Yeah.
kilometers. 20 kilometers away from her parents' house. Was she walking all the time? Did
So-
she have a car?
So I think it's possible that she was walking because it's been 5 hours. And I think within 5 hours you could definitely walk 20 kilometers, but
It's just an odd way.
it's very excessive walking.
Yeah. Odd way to grab a coffee for sure.
Yeah, how do you think that she got there? Do you think she walked there, or do you think she was driven there, or do you think she hitchhiked? Maybe she used public transport?
Honestly, there is a possibility that she hitchhiked. Right?
I think that's a possibility.
Also a possibility that she could have walked, but why though?
Yeah.
If you need a breather, why take a bag, withdraw some cash, and walk for 5 hours straight? Or walk around for 5 hours
No,
straight?
something's completely off at this point. At this point, when she already got to the cafe, I believe that something was completely off, and it wasn't according to at least the plan that she told her mother.
Maybe she had a particular destination in mind.
Do you think so?
Somewhere south or north or whichever direction she headed in.
Well, either way, the clerk at the coffee shop told that, well, basically they confirmed that they did serve Marilyn and that she seemed depressed and eager to leave the coffee shop. And no one else had seen her ever since then, and the credit card has not been used ever again. So, what do you think happened?
I have no idea how to answer that question, honestly.
There's so many possibilities, right?
So much. Wait, isn't there a small town wherein she was seen?
So yeah, we have some
sorry.
clues. No, it's all good. So we have some clues that may provide some insight. So when her mother, Andrea, eventually saw the ATM video, she noted that her daughter appeared helpless. It was speculated that Marilyn might have been looking at a car parked outside of the ATM, and it was entirely possible that she walked the 25 kilometers between her house and the coffee depot, but her family believed that she was likely driven or hitched a ride. Now, in January of 2010, a man claimed to have seen Marilyn regularly in Hawkesbury, Ontario, a predominantly francophone community. He reported that she seemed to have settled there with a younger man, moving around town several times. How much younger could this man be though? Because she was only 24, right? And regular customers at a downtown restaurant in Hawkesbury also claimed to have seen her with that younger man after being shown her photo. So that's definitely interesting. Hawkesbury is a predominantly French-speaking town with a population of 10,000 near the Quebec-Ontario border. It's about 100 kilometers west of Montreal and over 300 kilometers west of Quebec City. The person says they'd always see her with the same young man. She's never alone. They say that she looked under pressure and as a captive. They say they believe she was living in Hawkesbury and had moved around town a few times, always with that same man. Patrons from a downtown restaurant also say they've seen her. In total, there had been over 35 reported sightings of Marilyn in Hawkesbury. For some odd reason, I just have a suspicion that this is just a similar looking woman.
You think so?
Or do you think this is definitely her?
I mean, I'm thinking if it's a similar looking woman, why didn't that woman step in and explain?
Explain, yeah. And who is. And then she seemed to be under pressure, and she seemed to be looking as if she was a captive, which is strange.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. And it's also pretty strange that around 35 people reported seeing her.
That's bizarre. 35 people reported seeing her, and then they could still not locate this person.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
And law enforcement could not go find this person.
Mm-hmm.
That's a strange situation. What do you think? Do you think this was Marilyn, or do you think this was some other woman who looked very similar? Also, Marilyn, she had a very distinctive tattoo on one of her breasts, upper breast area. She had a tattoo. So I'm thinking, has anyone ever seen that tattoo? I kind of forgot what the tattoo was.
Which month did she disappear again?
So Marilyn disappeared in February of 2008.
It's still pretty cold. Yeah, it's still pretty cold.
But then again, the sightings came in 2010.
Oh.
So the sightings are coming in
way late.
Way late, yeah. And in January. So yeah, in January of 2010. So I guess, yeah, she would be covered up there in Canada in January. So I don't know. What do you think? What does your amateur investigative brain think?
I'm actually trying to find this. I read something on Reddit, like a Redditor, a comment, saying that she seemed to be one of the patients, one of the customers in the pharmacy.
In Hawkesbury?
Well, I'm not quite sure.
Oh, like you're talking about a person who left in Reddit who commented under a post.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just gonna read it right now.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
This Redditor Demon Cocktail posted this 2 years ago, and this Redditor said that I think she might be one of our patients in my pharmacy. The name and life story match very well, only the age is a bit odd. Our Marilyn is in the streets. It is our patient since 2 years. She looks very similar as well, only she has aged a lot with drugs and her lifestyle. I don't want to make official claims though. And then another one commented, "What pharmacy? I live in Quebec City. If this is legit, this is huge." And Demon Cocktail 2 years ago replied with, "It's in Quebec City, but I've never seen her during the summer. We'd have to be attentive of that, her tattoo."
Can I just really quickly stop? Why is Demon Cocktail not calling police?
Yeah, it's pretty odd.
Why are they leaving tips in the comment section?
Maybe it's just, I don't know, like a...
Yeah, that's why I'm
confusion, maybe?
I don't know, man. I feel like if you see a person who's officially missing, you don't go to Reddit and, I think she's one of our patients.
Yeah, but it could be like in a way, for example, you see a homeless person and you always just assume they're homeless. You never really like pay much attention to them. Like, of course you feel bad for them and all, but you don't really pay attention on like how they look like, what their background was like. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's also the case of that. Like, he's also one of the community homeless people.
Yeah. Sorry for diverging here. I
feel like you
had more about that. No, it's all?
Wait 1 second.
Yeah.
He said, or she said, "But I'll keep people updated. I don't know if she will be in our pharmacy for a long time. Usually she's the type of patient who could just transfer or go away if they are done with their opioid withdrawal program." And I kept on looking for an update. Nothing
really, right?
So it's kind of like a weird tip, a weird sighting, I guess.
It's strange, but definitely makes you think, maybe. And wait, is this person in Quebec City, or this person is
Quebec.
in Quebec City? The Demon Cocktail.
Yeah.
They're in Quebec City, and when did they report this?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So this is 20,
It's fairly recent.
22. So at that, this is basically, I'm trying to do math.
Oh, please do, because I can't.
16 years after her disappearance.
Interesting, right?
So could it even be her? So she would be 40. No,
That
she
would
be,
explain
sorry,
the age.
she would be 40.
He mentioned, or she mentioned, something about the age.
Yeah, but I
Aged a
mean-
lot with drugs and lifestyle.
So aged even more than a person would age at 40?
I mean, if you involve drugs,
Okay.
yeah,
But that's an interesting social media tip,
yeah, pretty interesting.
right? We have another tip that came in 2017, and this was oh no, this wasn't a tip, sorry. This was
Sighting.
no, not a sighting. This was the comments made by Jonathan Gauthier, who was a friend of Marilyn, who was, I believe, one of the last people to talk to Marilyn in Montreal. So a man who had conversed with Marilyn during her last month in Montreal provided more details on why she felt the need to leave the city so abruptly. So this guy was Jonathan Gauthier, a friend from college who reconnected with Marilyn in late 2007, described a significant change in her demeanor during a meeting on December 10th in 2007. So this is late 2007, shortly before she expressed the need to leave Montreal to her parents. So Gauthier noted that Marilyn, who had been cheerful, was now a downcast, listening to music in the dark. At a party that they attended that night, Marilyn's mood improved, but she became anxious after talking to a friend, which revived an unpleasant memory, and she asked to go home. Back in her apartment, Marilyn's mood worsened, and she began crying continuously. Gauthier tried to calm her and asked if she had been SA'd or witnessed a crime of sorts, and she denied both. Marilyn told Gauthier that something worse had happened but refused to elaborate, suggesting that he could not even begin to imagine what she had been through. And then Gauthier tried to get her to reveal more for 3 or 4 hours, but got the impression that she did not want to put him in danger. So two things. Some sort of when she ran into someone that she knew at the party, it revived an unpleasant memory, and then later on, Gauthier claims that he felt that she did not want to put him in danger. So what does that mean? What does that mean?
Someone was threatening her?
Someone
following her?
Following her, and something even worse than witnessing a crime or a SA'd.
Could it potentially be something that involves drugs?
Drugs.
Money and drugs.
Drugs, money. No.
I mean, anything is possible.
So what I was actually looking for was some people's opinions online, what they think that may have happened to Marilyn. And I found a few interesting suggestions. And what could be worse than, getting assaulted or witnessing a crime? And some people actually had theorized that maybe Marilyn, by accident, might have seen a murder taking place, or by accident had killed someone if she was driving a car and maybe had a hit and run accident. And maybe something like that would dwell in your conscious.
That's a pretty interesting insight. However,
it's a theory. It's definitely, Yeah, it's definitely not factual.
Sorry.
It's speculation.
But hit and run is pretty hard to cover up.
Exactly. It's a very hard. You would probably,
tough.
yeah,
Especially as a regular person.
unless it's in a rural area.
But still, as a regular person, it's pretty hard. But I would understand it because she was having like issues mentally.
Yeah, but we don't
Probably
really
to
know
go.
if she was even driving. So this is complete speculation. I don't even know if she had a car, So this is just complete speculation, and could be completely not what happened to Marilyn. But I was thinking that it was worth addressing that detail.
Yeah, witnessing a murder or crime could be a possibility since it was weighing down on her and she was so
Yeah.
scared looking over her shoulders all the time.
I'm also thinking, it was reported that she was living this rock and roll lifestyle. What does that mean? Does that mean that she's, hanging out with people who take drugs on a regular basis?
I think so.
And at that point, I feel like you could see some people ODing,
Oh.
and maybe someone close to her.
Or someone was ODing and then they just let him be or her.
Or something. There's a variation of
Of course.
scenarios, but
This
I
is a
wouldn't-
very interesting
yeah,
theory.
I wouldn't completely rule this one out. Okay, so we have another development in 2022. So in 2022, at an October 2022 news conference, an account of another possible sighting of Marilyn Bergeron was reported. A resident reported to Quebec police that on a cold and rainy night in December of 2009, a young woman knocked on his door at 2 a.m., wearing only a light jacket, a white t-shirt, jeans, and some high heels. So this was December 2009, so this is roughly around, I would say, almost 2 years after she vanished, close to 2 years after she had vanished, not fully 2 years yet. So the woman who was knocking on the door, she was crying and asked to use their phone to call someone else in town. So the couple that were living in that house, they gave her a towel to dry herself, and then she calmed down. She made a phone call, but it did not seem to get an answer. She asked for directions to a nearby street. The man offered to drive her, but she declined, saying it was close enough to walk. After apologizing for disturbing them, she left 10 to 15 minutes later. The woman never returned, and the couple assumed that she had just gotten lost. 3 months later, the couple saw a news report about Marilyn's disappearance and recognized Marilyn as the woman who had came to their house, despite her being blonde rather than brunette. So this woman was blonde apparently, but Marilyn's family confirmed that she had sometimes dyed her hair blonde and provided photos at the news conference. And I've seen those photos. So she did dye her hair blonde on some occasions. The Hawkesbury man had informed Quebec police about the encounter in 2010, but this account was not made public until the news conference in 2022. Her mother believes that the woman was indeed her daughter and asked anyone with information to come forward. The family now believes that Marilyn may still be alive and living somewhere in Ontario based on another unspecified new information. So her mother stated, "If she has a new life and wants to be left alone, we will respect that." And this is crazy because this is another sighting from Hawkesbury. Another sighting from Hawkesbury as early as December of 2009. So another seemingly somewhat credible sighting from Hawkesbury.
How massive is this Hawkesbury?
So 10,000 people living there. It's a small town.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
Like, if there are 35 plus that, 36 sightings of Marilyn, I mean, how hard could it be to locate her? Or do you think it's completely tough?
And who is that young man? Okay, so let's consider this theory. Who is that young man, and under what predicament is she there? So how does she end up in Hawkesbury? Remember, she was last seen in a coffee shop in Quebec City in February of 2008. How does she 2 years later end up in Hawkesbury with a younger man? And how much younger could that man be? Because Marilyn already looked young. So how much younger is this younger man? Am I the only one finding it strange that how much younger could you get than a
But it
person
wasn't.
in their early 20s?
It wasn't the boyfriend, right? Otherwise, we would have known.
No,
He wouldn't-
it's just
yeah.
a younger man. That's
Yeah,
all
who
we
wouldn't
know.
be the unidentified younger man?
No, we just know it's a younger man. And when you look at Marilyn, do you think that she has a very common face?
She has a pretty unique style, actually.
She has a very unique style. Yeah, I will agree.
She would stand out in a crowd.
She would stand out in a crowd. But I feel like I've seen some people quite similar.
Yeah, we have a Lithuanian singer that kind of looks like her.
Yeah, we have that.
But
I
then-
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but then again, if you would look at her in a sea of people, you would recognize it. You wouldn't recognize her per se, but it would stand out. Right?
Yes.
She wouldn't just blend in. So
I
you would
agree.
know. So I agree with those 35 sightings that they could have been her.
Yeah, 35. And I wonder if this is 35 different people claiming to have
think
seen
so.
her, or 35 sightings made by like 5 people. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
that would be weird.
yeah, that would be weird. No, it wouldn't be weird. That would be...
Yeah, but if it's like 35 sightings by like 5 different people, well, why they didn't report it as soon as they see her?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just the circle. Well, honestly, we
and-
don't know the specifics.
That's true.
So maybe not worth trying to dissect that part. So the main running theories about Marilyn's case that I was able to kind of find, like the main things that people are saying, is that she either met with foul play, or she committed suicide due to a possible manic depression, or even a beginning of schizophrenia.
I think mental illness, plays a role in this.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, she clearly was devastated by
Yeah.
something. And now the question is, was that a real fear that she was fearing?
Exactly.
What was she fearing something real, or was it
Like paranoia kicking in.
kicking in? I mean, that's something I guess we'll never know. But it is quite, I don't know if it's relieving. I would say it's relieving to know that there is a chance that Marilyn is out there. That
That's
she
true.
potentially could be there in Ontario. It's just strange because Hawkesbury is a small town. And if she has been in Hawkesbury, I mean, I feel like she would have been located by now.
Yeah, or at least like someone will say that it wasn't her.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like someone would have called police in Hawkesbury because it's a small town and people know everyone and everything in small towns. So I feel like it wouldn't be that hard for someone to call the police unless she's being held captive. That is the darkest outcome of this
hopefully
case.
not, yeah.
Yeah, the most dark outcome is that Marilyn was actually running away from someone, and she was looking over her shoulder at the ATM, and somehow she was looking, and then she was
She would have been safer with her family though.
yeah
Or maybe she just didn't want to put them in danger if that's the case.
yeah maybe if that's if she was in some sort of a trouble.
I'm kind of like I don't know. I still keep on thinking about that backpack.
That backpack? What's that backpack about?
Yeah, was it like a go-to backpack? Like, one of those. I know we don't have it, but like my brother, he's into this kind of prepper mode, but then again, it's kind of nice. I think it's a very smart decision to have like a go bag. For example, there's like an earthquake, everything's there. You just take it and run. Not everything's there, like the essentials are there. Just take it and go. So I'm kind of wondering if she had it.
A prepper backpack?
Or like a go bag. I don't know what's the right word for it.
Go bag. I mean, I have no idea where she got the bag.
Exactly. Was she hiding it? Where
Did she
where?
just buy it?
It doesn't seem so.
Yeah, that backpack is really strange.
Yeah, and why leave all your cards? And how much money does she have if that $60 was declined, but she was seen in a coffee shop? So she probably had something with her.
Yeah. I wonder what she had in the backpack.
Yeah, me too. And I'm wondering, like, if she is actually gonna start a new life on her own, without her family, without anyone knowing. Why just $60? Why try to take out $60?
Yeah. So and why disappear one day after relocating from Montreal?
Yeah, what's the point, right?
She seemingly wanted to go back to Quebec City to feel safer. That was my understanding. But then why would she disappear after fully completing?
Settling back.
Yeah, settling back. Why would she do that?
And I don't know, it just seems like she had a particular destination in mind, at least in my opinion, and she needed extra cash, like maybe $60 for like food, transportation, whatsoever. But she just never made it back.
You know, when I look at the pictures from the ATM, she does look like she is on a mission. Like she's doing something. Like it almost has a look of, she has a look on her face that maybe she is trying to be secretive about what she's doing. Don't you have like this sense that she looks like she's trying to be secretive about what she's doing? To me, it looks like she's trying to be a little secretive about this whole operation or whatever she was about to do, you know?
Yeah.
And then what was she doing from 11 to 5 p.m.? Was she just walking towards that coffee shop? I think maybe she was walking for so long potentially that she got tired and she went to the coffee shop because she wanted a little break from walking so much. That would make sense.
But why walk though? When she had the money to buy coffee, why not take the public transportation?
Well, at that point, she couldn't even get the $60. Maybe the $60 were for like a train fare to go to a different city.
But then again, she had the money to buy coffee.
Yeah. But the coffee was with a credit card. I don't know, maybe it was a contactless or something,
sense,
you know what I mean, where you just touch it and up to a certain amount of money, the credit card will get charged without any PIN required.
Oh yeah, now it kind of got a little crazier. Why withdraw $60 when you have a credit card?
So maybe she wanted to pay in cash for something. Maybe to not leave a digital mark. Because maybe she knew that all of her transactions were connected to her father's bank account. So maybe she was trying to avoid detection. Maybe she was gonna buy something.
Do you think drugs are involved?
I'm not sure. I don't know. But maybe she was going to buy something that she didn't want her family knowing that she was gonna buy.
Do you think there was some sort of like relapse if she ever stopped?
I mean, I don't know.
Or just complete assumptions?
I don't know. I don't know. I think anything's a possibility, but yeah, I don't know. And I think it's strange, and I do hope that that she's still alive. I just hope that Marilyn's still alive.
Yeah, and I hope her family gets to find her.
Yeah, I mean, even though, it's probably unlikely that she's still alive after this time, I feel like it's more likely that this person would be already located. But there are cases where people have been
Homeless.
identified, yeah, or homeless. Man, I hope she's okay. Honestly, I just hope that Marilyn's okay, or at least she's not suffering under some sort of captivity
Oh,
in the
that's the
Hawkesbury.
worst, yeah.
That's the most
Disturbing.
potential outcome. I really hope that that's not the case. I hope that she's okay. I just have to hope that she's okay.
We all just have to hope.
Yeah, and I hope that by talking about this case, we raise a little awareness about her case, and man, I hope we'll get some new information. And I think this is a good time to sign out for us. So thank you everyone for listening to our podcast this week
And let us know what you think.
about what happened to Marilyn. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.